The Knicks take game one from Indiana by the skin of their teeth. Let's talk about it. And well, welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm Wa2K99. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch these videos. So the Knicks take game one of their second round series against the Pacers, 121-117 at Madison Square Garden. And some are going to call this game controversial, and you could do that if you would like. But if you're putting this game on the referees, I really think you're looking in the wrong direction. So we're going to break this game down right now. But before we do that, I want to send a special shout out to the DC Knicks fans. I hung with them at Artemis in Columbia Heights. There's about 15 or 20 of us. We had a rooftop, and we just took that building over. Fantastic time. I thank them for just a fantastic night, a whole lot of fun. But I'll tell you something that we learned from this game. This series is going to be a lot more challenging than a lot of Knicks fans previously believed. Well, it changed quickly, didn't it? Indiana came into this game with a chip on their shoulder about the size of an aircraft carrier. All right, and you got to give them credit for how they played. They stayed with the Knicks. They led by as many as 9 points in this game. But when the game got close and the game got late, the Knicks took over, just like they did against Philadelphia. I think one of the big turning points in this game, it was 104-99 Indiana. It's about midway through the fourth quarter. And of all people, IsaiahHhartenstein is dribbling down the court like he's the point guard. He gets past midcourt, and I'm like, what? WTH, what am I looking at? He looked like a baby horse just learning to walk for the first time, like a baby colt, right? It just looked very, very awkward. So he heaves this sort of desperate pass to Josh Hart, basically in the middle of the court. And he drives, lays it in, and the foul. Of course, the TNT scoreboard, this is where they completely messed up. They gave the Knicks 3 points immediately, like they were assuming Josh Hart would make the free throw. That was rather funny. And of course, Hart misses the free throw, but he gets the offensive rebound, lays it back home, and the Knicks are only down by 1. Now, the Knicks, we thought one of the big advantages coming into the series for the Knicks was their rebounding, and especially for most of this game, especially in the first half, that was not the case. In fact, the Knicks had only 2 offensive rebounds in the first half and 8 for the game, but that one was enormous. At that point, even though they were a long way from clinching the game, I just had a feeling the Knicks were going to find a way. But the Pacers still led 109-104. Now there's 4 minutes to go. Certainly the game is not over, but if you're on the road as, the lower seeded team, that's a pretty good place to be. And feeling a little bit uneasy, but I think if you're a Knicks fan or if you've watched the Knicks in the playoffs, you've seen enough to know that they are capable of making a run, and they're going to make one. Indiana at its core does not play great defense. The question was, could they stop the New York Knicks? Well, the Knicks go on a 9-0 run over the next about minute and a half, really, to take a 4-point lead. Jalenbrunson scores 7 of those 9 points. The Nova 3 actually scored 33 of the 39 points the Knicks would score in that fourth quarter. But then you get down to the final controversial minute. Now, after Aaron Nesmith kicks the ball by accident for Indiana, Knicks keep the ball, 50 seconds left on the clock. Now, at this point, the game is tied. Brunson's getting doubled, and he fires a quick pass to his left to DonteDivincenzo, fires off a 28-foot shot. I mean, this was a deep, deep three. It got a little touch of the rim and all of the bottom of the net. Knicks up 3. They have the lead that they would never relinquish. Credit to DiVincenzo. He only had 4 points in the first half, but 21 in the second half. Now, with 26 seconds left to go, Pascal Siakam scores, cuts the Knicks lead to 1. Then all the ticky-tack stuff goes on, and I want to address the official stuff right now. So Brunson dribbles the ball off Tyrese leg. That's initially called a turnover. Refs did correct it. Knicks retain possession. Now, I know the call that all the Indiana fans are going to want to focus on, and that's coming up. But what about the play before the Turner screen when Brunson was called out of bounds as he was saving the ball on the sideline and threw it off Haliburton's leg, and the ball went to Indiana. Now, the ball hit Brunson. Now, apparently that's the rule. Brunson's standing out of bounds. The ball hit him last, so somehow Indiana gets possession. It's one of several NBA rules that make absolutely no sense to me at all, but the rule is the rule. The referees called that correctly based on the poor basis of it existing, if that makes sense. All right, so now it's 13 seconds left to go. And now you get the illegal screen called on Mylesturner. Yes, he did move his feet in the slightest, and it was a very, very bold call. You want to say that Dante DiVincenzo embellished when he fell to the court? Okay, that's fine. You know, Stan Van Gundy, who's one of these big Knick haters, he's right there with Richard Jefferson and some of the TNT crew, Evan Roberts, all these people. He called it a great acting job. He's referencing Broadway and all this stuff. He can be really annoying at times. I don't know. Maybe he hates the Knicks because his brother coached them. I don't know what it is. But remember with the illegal screen, the referees called one on Dante about 2 minutes prior that was pretty borderline also. DiVincenzo got livid at the referees, and you don't often see DiVincenzo lose his temper on the court, out of anger. So I think he had that play in mind when he was screened, and he said, I'm going to get them right back for this. And it worked. The Knicks get the ball. Brunson's fouled away from the play. Just poor fundamental decision by Indiana. I mean, what were they thinking about as Nembhard basically puts his arm around Brunson's neck? So JalenBrunson gets an extra free throw, which he makes. Then the Knicks inbound, and 2 seconds go by, 10 seconds left. Brunson is fouled, hits both free throws, and the Knicks have made it a 2-possession game. Just poor fundamental playing by Indiana when it mattered. Mariano Rivera was sitting courtside, the greatest closer of all time. Well, he got to watch the best closer in New York and this one. All due respect to Edwin Diaz. But Brunson closed this game out with 3 straight free throws, did not miss a free throw all night. So anybody who wants to blame the referees, for the reason that Indiana lost this game, and that includes the players and the coaches, they need to cork it. Quit the excuses. I know replay is weird. You can't challenge a kickball, but you could challenge when it's bounced off a leg. The rules are very, very fugazi in my mind. But this wasn't about one call by a referee. This was about the Knicks completely out-executing the Pacers in the final 5 minutes. That's what Indiana should look at. That's what Indiana should be upset about. And Jalen Brunson, what can you say about him that hasn't already been said? 40-plus points a game in this one. He is the first player to score 40 points or more in 4 straight playoff games since somebody named Michael Jordan. We may have heard of him. That's right. Not LeBron, not Steph Curry, not Dwayne Wade, not Dirk Nowitzki, not the great Kobe Bryant. Nobody else since Jordan has done that. Brunson scores 21 of his 43 points in the fourth quarter, 14 of 14 from the line. The Knicks as a team shot 65% from the floor in the second half. Spot on. We also talked about the free throw struggles they've had. They went 22 of 26 from the line, and they needed every single one of those free throws. Oh, and let us not forget, I took a little shot at IsaiahHhartenstein, maybe a little one. All the credit to him for making that half-court shot at the end of the first half. How big was that shot? Indiana had been going on a run the last minute or two. It was a 55-46 game, Indiana on top, and that made it 55-49. I think that gave the Knicks a little bit of hope that they sorely needed. Now, with Oganunoby, he didn't really show out this game. He wasn't a dominating force, but he did force some turnovers, had a big dunk towards the end of the game off one of them. I think the concern I have right now about the Knicks is the bench, in particular Deuce McBride. tjmcconnell schooled him whenever he was in the game. McBride played 11 minutes, did not score a point, and when he was on the court, the Knicks had a point differential of minus 13. The Knicks cannot afford to be incompetent when Jalen Brunson is not on the floor. And I'm sorry, I don't want to keep going back to this, but I have to. The Knicks are not going to be able to sustain forever when your bench is playing a combined 27 minutes. That's it. 3 players played a total of 27 minutes. Mitch did not look good in this game. He did not look healthy at all. He did have a nice alley-oop dunk, but he just did not look fast. I think Precious Achiuwa should play more of his minutes because he just has more mobility, and these Indiana big men like to shoot the ball from outside as opposed to playing down low in the post. Oh, and speaking of the bench, I want to complain about something else with TNT. Is there a more useless stat in the NBA than bench points? It seemed every 5 minutes they're putting up a graphic on how many points Indiana scored off the bench versus how many New York scored off the bench. And when the game had ended, Indiana's bench outscored the Knicks 46-3. Obitoppin made his threes, he dunked, and that was frustrating to watch, I'm not going to lie. finished with 12 points, 6 rebounds. McConnell shot 9 of 16 from the floor for 18 points, and he's a backup point guard. That's all well and good, but you know what that means as well? You know what that means? The Knicks starters dominated the Pacers starters. If you want to look at it that way, the Knicks starters outscored the Pacers starters 118-71 by 47 points. Now, I'm going to give some credit to Mylesturner, the Pacers center. I said he was a player to watch. I didn't know he'd be that good. 23 points on 8 of 16 shooting, but he only had 2 rebounds in 35 minutes. Your center cannot have only 2 points, 2 rebounds in 35 minutes. No excuse for that. And so back to my initial question. Did Indiana play their best? Did the Knicks ignore the pace, take on the Pacers' best shot, and beat them? Well, I thought Indiana played a very efficient, clean game for the most part. When you have 32 assists to 7 turnovers, that is very impressive ball handling. 6 players scored in double figures. I thought the strategy by Rick Carlisle made sense. Get as many players into the game as possible. Make Jalenbrunson play defense. I would say the Pacers played a great game for 44 minutes. I mentioned the big run that the Knicks went on in the last 4 minutes. Those 7 turnovers I mentioned just a moment ago, the 7 turnovers? 4 of them happened in those final 4 minutes of the game. The Knicks were able to take away the Pacers' composure. They did what they had to do. Oganunoby in particular forced 2 of those turnovers. And I think another reason why maybe the Pacers didn't quite play their best, Tyrese was bad in this game. 6 points and 8 assists. Maybe those back spasms are bothering him more than they know. But I think the Knicks took nearly the best that the Pacers had to give. Indiana probably should have won this game. You can make the case, but they came away with the win. Good job by the Knicks. They take game 1. I said Knicks in 6, and I didn't see a whole lot to dissuade me from that prediction. Game 2, Wednesday night at MSG. All right, guys, those are my thoughts on the Knicks-Pacers first game of the second round. If you have any thoughts, put them right down there in the comments. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and I'll see you right back here from you know where, the Wicker Chair. See you later.